So yeah, if you want to, you can go to that. But you can see me actually editing the photos, and you can like see what I'm doing on YouTube. And then I am on here checking like the actual chat, and then there's a YouTube chat which should appear as well. Hello. And I have no idea if I can share the. Let's see if I can share this in the chat here. I don't know. I'm really not good at this whole going live thing because I honestly am just like a child sometimes. I use a Canon R5 Mark II, and I love it, honestly. I initially used the 5D Mark III for the first round of photos in Aragon, but then no, the first round of photos in Valencia. And then I came home for a week and I upgraded the camera between those 2 weeks. So then I actually got the 5D Mark II for my birthday. It was a birthday present from myself to myself. Thank you, mom and dad. Um, and I saw a significant improvement between those 2 weeks. I'm gonna see if I can. I did share the link, so you should be able to see it. I think I'm gonna hope so. I really don't know. Again, I'm not good at this YouTube streaming thing like I thought I might be. I was like, we're gonna figure this out and it's gonna be great. But we're trying my best, and that's really all that counts. And yeah, I'm seeing if it works. I'm hoping it works. If anybody can see it, that would be great to let me know what you're seeing. Oh, I can see myself. I was like, we're gonna figure this out and it's gonna be great. I can see myself on on my YouTube channel. Sorry. But yeah, I can see a significant improvement. Now that I know that it is actually streaming, I'm going to actually open these up a bit because I'm also like low-key kind of blind. Can't see niche. So the glasses are going on. I need these to edit and they're disgusting. But yeah, these are the photos I took in Valencia. I think these were actually the very first day of Endless Summer. So basically for Formula Winter Series, they have these track days that they do for rich people called Endless Summer. And at these track days, you can come and literally just drive your car all day. Do whatever kind of driving you want. Try not to put it in the wall, but you can drive all you want. And so like a lot of the GT teams come. There are these little cars called TCR cars that come. These were literally the very first photos I took the entire time I was in Valencia, so they suck. They genuinely suck. So this is the Circuit Richard Torno in Valencia, Spain. So for Formula Winter Series, there were 5 rounds. Portimao. I didn't go to those first ones, so I honestly am just like, I also didn't know it existed. There were 5 rounds, I know for sure. It's run by Gaelic Racing. Oh no, actually it is just 4. So it's Portimao, and in Portimao they do a 6 hours of Portimao, and then a regular Formula Winter weekend. And then it was Valencia, and then it was Motorland Aragon, and then Catalunya in Barcelona. And in Catalunya and in Portimao, they do a 6-hour race for like the GT cars. So that was actually really cool. I was not there in Portimao, and I'm not going back for the 6 hours of Barcelona. I could have gone back, but I ended up deciding not to because I didn't really want to. And there's not that many cars at the 6-hour one here. I think the first one was apparently a bit better in terms of how many people came. And so I just decided ultimately, like, I can't just blow all of my money on this. But yeah, like the photos weren't bad. They aren't. Like, they genuinely are not bad. But they did get a lot better as I went. And I think purely having the 5D Mark III and upgrading that to the Mark II of the R5 was such a big difference just purely with the autofocus. Because with the 5D Mark III, what I didn't know is that you cannot, well, I did know this, but like I didn't know that how big of a difference it would be. You cannot um, do single spot focusing. You can only do an autofocus on, you could only have the autofocus like in a range. And so when you're trying to do like panning shots, so like those really lovely, I'll see if I can pull one up. I don't know if I have any from this day. I should have at least one. Yeah, but these are not panning, are they? Oh, they are. They're kind of. They're like. They're not the good ones. So like this one, like with a panning shot. I will flip this around so you can actually see what I mean as well. If I can. There we go. Yay. So like with the panning shots, which have like the blurred background, but then the car is in focus, you can see how like kind of how the focus kind of varies from here all the way to the number and kind of around. But then by the time I got to Barcelona with the R5, I'm trying to find a good one. I don't think I did them on the last day because I wasn't really in the mood because it was also pissing rain and I was just like, pass. Is that one of the good ones? No. Yeah, like this one. So not only is the composition better on this photo, but I was able to use a single spot focus. And so I could set it to the driver's helmets and really to like their nameplates on the car. And every time one of them came by, I could do that. And so I would actually start with the car as it's like coming out from under the bridge that's just off screen and then follow the car until it got to about here and then take the photo. So that's how I took these rather than some of the other ones like I did in Valencia. My Valencia photos, honestly, I would be happy if those never saw the light of day again. But we're here and I think it's growth. Yeah, growth. That's what we're going to go with. Once upon a time, there used to be a way where I could like have both settings, but I can't anymore. I think unless I were to join from another like thing, I really couldn't do so, which is sad because I would love to do that. But yeah, thank you. They definitely improved by the time I got to Valencia. And so what I'm actually gonna do for these, because I did parts of them, but not all of them. I'm gonna actually segment them down into which ones I want to edit, which ones I don't. And my process is actually incredibly simple to work through these. There are a million other ways that people do this, and there are ways that make it a lot easier. There are ways that make it not as time consuming, but I've found this was the way that worked best for me and also worked best for like my workflows. And so all I do is I alternate with setting a star between a 3 and a 5. So if I do a 3, it's kind of like, I like you, but I don't know if I'm going to keep you. But if I do a 5, it's like, oh, I really like you and I'm really going to keep you. And then if there's ones where I recognize like the face, I'll go back afterwards and then it does It has learned all of the faces in here, and so I can set them based on the people if I so choose to do so. Most of the time, I don't do that unless I'm like looking for somebody specific, but I haven't done that. Um, Haas 2025 constructors. See, the thing is, I want to say yes because I feel like that would make my season so much more interesting than what it is now. But I'm going to say no because I'm a Ferrari girl. But I would love a Haas constructor championship. That would actually make my day. I would be surprised. But you know what? It's going to rain in Australia. So anything could happen. They could start off the season really strong. Then I feel like if Haas become constructor champions, they have to invite you for the rest of the season, like the next season, to the paddock. I feel like that's the only way it would work because otherwise, what's the point? And yeah, I some of these I've already gone through, but like honestly, I think the thing with this is back to the photo thing, but like honestly, the thing with editing the photos is like I took like 5,000 photos, but like half of like no, not even half. 85% of them I will never actually edit because they are awful. They're either well, not they're not awful. They're just out of focus. Like, but some of them are still cool. Like on I think this was Saturday. It rained, and when it rained, it the cars were all sliding in this one corner, and so I have these like this set of photos of this car like as it's spinning around, and I fucking love it, but the problem is they're all out of focus. So what am I gonna do with that? Nothing. um and like ended up getting parked here and kind of parking off the line, but that was not the only car that turned as well, because like you can see like in this photo kind of like it's almost got like a mirror effect because that was how much rainwater is on the ground right now or at that moment, which is insane. But yeah, but I like most of these I will never actually go like I'll never actually use them. I have actually edited. I've made my choices for half of these because I do remember when I did this because I actually meant to do an International Women's Day post, and I may or may not have fallen asleep mid edit. So I have the photos and they're really cool and I'm really happy with them. I just never posted it. But I am going to post it because it's Women's History Month, and you know what? Fuck it, we ball. Uh like I ended up using if you see the stream on YouTube, because unfortunately I cannot stream here. I am not that popular or good at it enough yet. I have pinned that comment with the stream details. I think you can be able to copy and paste that. You should be able to, maybe. I don't know. Or like my YouTube is the same. Uh, it's the same like handle as all my other platforms, and it's in my bio. So like you can actually see what I'm looking at on the screen. So you can see like the photos as I'm editing them. I just can't show them here without like picking up my phone and flipping it around, which is boring for everybody, I imagine. Um and so you can actually like see as I'm making my choices through editing these down. I imagine that they're not bad. I think the thing with like races and everything is that racing is so difficult to choose which ones you like and which ones you don't. And having I think eventually me upgrading my lens to something where I was a lot closer helped, cuz like even my photos between Abu Dhabi and Jeddah, no, between Jeddah and Abu Dhabi were so different because in Jeddah I had my 70 to 200. No, no, I had my 24 to 70. But then in Abu Dhabi, I basically like bullied the security into allowing my 70 to 200 in, because in Abu Dhabi their rule is, oh, you can have whatever you want as long as the lens length is under two as under 30 centimeters from base to top of the lens. And I was just like, this is 28 and a half centimeters. And I took a photo. I literally brought the shop cider uh, measuring tape in case I needed it, because I was like, you will not take this from me and you will not tell me that I have to go back to my hotel. I refuse. So I was belligerent, basically, and I have no regrets because I got it and they were all there. Boom. But yeah. I think the thing with like the focus is that it really is luck, especially if you don't have like a new mirrorless camera. It's so dependent upon luck that I don't even think it's honestly not fair to the majority of people, because ultimately what you are fighting, you're like up against people who have 400 millimeter lenses and stuff. Like when I was in, must have been Aragon, um, one of the other photographers let me borrow his mirrorless lens. No, he let me borrow his his Canon 400 millimeter prime lens, which is like a prime 2.8 lens. If you look up how much that lens cost, it's like 7,000 pounds. I was like, yeah, it's expensive. She's a pricey girl. Have I? Yeah, no. I was like, we cannot afford this. But regardless, I used it. Oh my goodness, it was nuts. I was shook. I was shooketh. I didn't know how to deal with myself, because honestly, like, I was like, what am I gonna do with this lens? And it's huge. Like, genuinely, the weight of it, insane. I was like, why? Like, I was just like, this is honestly insane to deal with, because ultimately, like, it was just like, it's like the big one that like people like Jamie Jamie Price use. It's huge. It's genuinely insane to look at when you see how massive those lenses are and how heavy they are. Ah, my phone's dying. Sorry. Yeah, you've probably seen his TikToks. Um, you really can't miss him at this point. He posts a lot, but like it's like the big one. Like it's literally like this long. No, it's definitely like here. And you need like a monopod to hold it up. It does not make sense to hold without it. I now have a 1 to 400 millimeter lens, which I love. She's my baby. But simultaneously, it's not the same. It's not. Like maybe once a day it might be. But like, why am I so tired now? I don't know. Like it's not the same. And I don't know. Maybe one day I will it'll improve, but I just I don't have the cash for that right now. And I don't wish that on my worst enemy to do so. But yeah, it's fine. Anyway, back to my edits. I'm trying to decide. Editing is quite boring, honestly, like, which is part of why I'm doing this, because I will probably follow, like, it just puts me to sleep. It's very, soothing to edit. And I think at one point I was literally just like taking photos of everything. It is a very expensive hobby. And I'm debating on if I want it to be more than a hobby and if I want it to be more of a career aspect. But I don't think I'm like good enough yet. And one of the things that I also kind of, it freaked me out, not freaked me out, but just like saddened me was when I was at Winter Series. This was not with like Gidlick who run the series. It was with some of the teams. Like you kind of get the impression that they don't like women or like people of color. Like I was the only woman of color by miles. But there was always only one other woman who was there taking photos, which was rough and hard to deal with, I think, for me. Because I was constantly comparing myself to like other people who have like, when I say this, I mean this in the nicest way possible. Like sometimes there were like trust fund kids who literally like they're just like, hey, I need to buy like this new 500 millimeter lens, prime lens. Dad, can you send me the money? Like I don't have that. I can't ask for that. And yeah, it sucks. But I think not only is it an expensive hobby, but like sometimes I worry about how far I can get as like a woman of color in the space. And like, but then I also feel weird talking about it because then it's like, okay, is it more so that my photos aren't that good? Is it like people just are not very welcoming to people of color in the space? Like, what is my issue? I don't know. And I think that's part of the hard part. It's because I just don't know which part I need to improve on sooner rather than later. Because it feels like it's always going to feel like an uphill battle, but I think the uphill battle will always be different depending on who you are. This is Cornelia, if you're watching the YouTube one, and she's so nice. She's so lovely. Honestly, like, so sweet. And I think that was also what I found. Some of the girls who are not like in F1 Academy, so nice. The nicest girls you will ever meet. And then some of the other ones were just not. It was not great. Because at Winter Series, there are no ties for this. There's a button. I have been wearing this all day, and I did not realize this was a button and not like drawstrings. Anyway, uh, anyway, all of the F1 Academy girls, or not all of them, but like half of them, were racing at Formula Winter Series, and most of them were actually genuinely really nice. Um, a couple of them weren't, but that's just neither here nor there. You can't really change that. But I think the people who were there were uh, Chloe Chambers. All of the Red Bull girls were there. So Chloe, Alicia, and Rafaela were there. Um, who else? Chloe, Alicia, Rafaela, and Nina Gademan, and Alba Herlip Larson were all there. And Alba actually had her own special livery with her name on it. It was sickening. I was in love with it. I'll have to find the picture and share it. Um, I absolutely loved it because it was this beautiful burgundy color that I was in love with. And I was like, why can't all of you have this livery or a similar livery? Because it was so cute. Highly recommend looking her livery up. She was with Genzer Motorsports that season. for a winter series, but she didn't do the Valencia. She didn't do the She didn't do the Barcelona races. She only did everything up until Aragon. Because last weekend, the F1 Academy girls were in China at Shanghai for testing. And so, yeah, you can see that. But I am going through these rather quickly. I think the Saturday ones are always going to be the day when I have the most because it was the first day of racing. And so I wanted to get some race day shots. But, like, honestly, I'm not as big of a fan of some of the ones I did that day because I just don't, like, they're not great. Like, I don't like the actual genuine composition of them. But that's why they're getting marked as 3s and not 5s. And then anything else just doesn't get marked. But I think one of the coolest things about Formula Winter Series is, like, I've never really been someone who was into F4 racing, but simultaneously, it is so cool to see these kids drive. It was insane. Like, I highly recommend going back and watching the season because you can really see, like, which of them are really, really good, which ones were just kind of okay. But, like, there's definitely at least one or two of them I'm willing to bet who will end up in F2 at minimum, if not F1. I can highly see that. And, like, I can give you names if anybody wants names of people to look up who I think might make it. And it's not like, and the thing is, like, I wasn't working for any of them, so I'm not, like, biased into, like, oh my gosh, you only like them because they were paying your bills. No, none of them paid my bills. And so, like, I can say pretty much what I want to say about it, and it's great. But there were definitely some of them who were just such good racers that, and I was like, this is your racecraft and you're like 16 or like 15. And I think the minimum age was 15, so they would have had to have been like 15. And I'm like, you're a child. Like, I don't understand this. When I was 15, we were trying not to crash cars in the parking lot of our high school, but you're like driving a Formula 4 car for funsies. This is insane. And then there was a whole debacle with the last race in Barcelona because the guy who thought he had won got a 5-second penalty for track limits on the last lap of the race. Did they appeal? Yes. Has that appeal done anything? No. So we will see what happens. But yeah. Honestly, it was watching these kids do track limits was actually the funniest thing I have ever watched, only because they would do it so egregiously. Like, I have to see if I can find the photo, and I'll flip my phone around. Oh, good Lord, there's so many of them. Yes, it was this corner. So in this corner, I'm gonna flip this so you don't have to stare at my face. So in this corner, you can kind of see it. Let me find a good one. Oh. No. There we go. That might have been one. No, they're just riding the bump. No, I think a good one is Aragon. Aragon was fucking hilarious because let me see if I can find those ones. Huh? There's only like 10 of those. That's weird. I don't know. It was at the bottom of this hill in Aragon, and I don't have any of the formulas apparently. I don't know. I have them. Give me a second. I think it also just takes when I take the adjustments off, because we were just testing the waters, and you can see there's so many photos. This is one sessions of photos. uh. The beautiful thing is, at least they were all in order, so I know exactly. Aha, these ones. Okay. I got there eventually. Thank you. I got them for my birthday when I went to Disney before COVID. You can see them. They're literally riding the entire track. Like they're off. They're completely off. When I tell you, every single one of them took this exact corner just like that. I think maybe one or two of them the entire race took this corner the way it should have been taken. And you can kind of see it when I go quickly, and like you can see them come over the curb and then just completely miss like the line. And it was the funniest thing to watch them take this corner, because every single one of them did the exact same thing, did not take that corner, and then just rode the bump. But to be fair, a lot of the GT cars and the GT4s did the exact same thing. Like they would just all four off, boom, track limits, or like barely on, because they're a bit wider. But like they just eventually decided, like, you know what, this is the corner, like this is the line. I don't care what you mean. Like, we're just not going to count that because everyone's doing the exact same thing, which I found insane. Honestly, potholes in Atlanta are more treacherous than the way that those corners were set up. People just did not want to do it. They were determined not to take that corner. And it was the funniest thing to watch. Genuinely, if I had to do it again, I would sit at that corner, because it was like you're coming off of a straight, and then it's a right-hander, then a left-hander, and then you have a longer corner, and then another left-hander. And it was insane. And a lot of times they just missed that corner, that second one. They were just like, we will see the barriers, or we will see this little gravel trap. And like, if I was there for a Formula One race, or they don't race Formula One in Aragon, but like or like a MotoGP race, I would just sit at that corner and wait for someone to crash in front of me, so that I could have like the shot. I did get a couple of things of people crashing. It honestly just didn't happen that much, even despite the rain. Again, professional drivers, very good at what they do, which is also lucky because they're, again, children. You don't really want the kids to like crash out. Sometimes they did a little bit here and there. They had a little moment where they were just like, we're just like, bye. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. Will the numbers ever come back? Okay, that's probably where I ended up. Yeah. Every 15 minutes, my phone comes up and it's like, you have been on TikTok for 15 minutes. And I'm like, I am literally on a live. I am not actually doing this. I'm not sitting here scrolling. I'm just talking to people online. But yeah, my boyfriend is at his leaving drinks for his job. So he's away. And when he's away, I entertain myself with TikTok Live. And I edit photos because I really need to post these, because it's going on a week and I need to not like hog them. But yeah, I can tell you which of the drivers I would say would be like ones to watch if anybody wants that information. I also know that most people don't care about Formula 4 because it's just like crazy expensive, and they're all like literal children. But I think with like Formula 4, the thing that I found interesting was that like, yes, they are children, but they also, like, watching them have this like money and attention in the media training is crazy, because it's like, I don't know when they ever actually get to be kids. So I think Lizzie, I think your yes was in terms of like who you should watch for. In terms of the, I'm actually going to split this into the girls and the boys because there are girls I think you should definitely watch, and then boys that I think who are different. Yes, they get media training. I think some of it's just media training that their parents do, but there was a whole thing a couple years ago with like one of them saying like making some stupid bumbleclot video or something, and that just being really really bad. So yeah, it happens. So they kind of need it sometimes. Yeah, the F4 drivers, the Bumbleclot video, that was at Formula Winter Series. I didn't know that until this year, but yeah, that was them, and it is yeah. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, two of the drivers made a video. I'm gonna have to explain this now. um, so Um, actually, you know what? I'm gonna send. So if you can like go on TikTok and you search, um, oh, Alpine Bombaclot. It was Nicola Solon. I found it. I'll send it to you. So I've just you should be scared. It was horrible. It was just like it was ridiculous. It's honestly one of the most horrifying things I unfortunately had to watch. And so now I'm sharing it with you guys so you can watch it. Basically these two drivers made a video where they were using a TikTok sound, and it was about like having sex, and it was a whole thing. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this without getting banned. Um, it was like basically they both got canceled. That's the thing you need to know. They both got canceled for this, and they both got dropped from Alpine's driver academy program. And the song choice just didn't make sense. They're both like random white boys, and it was not the move. It was honestly insane. Yes, they got dropped because of it. Yeah. Oh yeah. They were not playing. And so that is why they sometimes get media training like the Formula Force, because you kind of need it. Um, they're like, can't have you doing stupid stuff like this because of it. Yeah. Oh yeah, they got dropped. Both of them got. I think everyone has like visceral memories of when this happened, but doesn't actually remember like the video in its full audacity. I remember seeing this, but I did not remember like who it was. Yeah, it was Formula 4. This was at the Winter Series that year. And like that's why the video got deleted. That's why like everything was because of that. Yeah. Ta-da. So honestly, like I didn't even know what Winter Series was when that happened, and I didn't know until this year. But then ever since, I'm like, you know what, this series is fucking hilarious, and I just kept coming back for more. The racing is great though. Highly recommend. Honestly, if you just need like, I just highly recommend watching it if you need something funny to watch. Like these two like da 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 da, and I'm like, oh god, it was just painful to watch. So I don't think they'll ever live this down. It will go down in the history books of motorsport world craziness. I do feel bad for the people on, like, if anybody's on the YouTube stream because they don't know, like, they didn't get any of the video I just sent. They just will have gotten, like, me just talking about it. And then the photo, like, an out of focus photo that I didn't choose. But yeah, in terms, I will tell you about people you should watch from the series. Um, One of them is named Kabir Anorak. He won the final race of the season. He is, speaking of, he's in Alpine's Driver Academy program, actually. And he's one of the loveliest people you'll ever meet. He's so nice. He's got a great team, and he's genuinely a great driver. So nice, great kid. Um, I also feel really old when I call them kids, but they literally are kids. Um, and he drove for Us Racing. It is not US Racing, like I said, for the first like week. It is Us Racing, because their name is literally US Racing, and I was like, it's at Us Racing or US Racing, and I was wrong. Someone else to watch for is Finn McLaughlin. Finn is spelled Fionn. He's Irish. He's in Red Bull's Driver Academy program. He absolutely like throttled the rest of them when it came to the wet racing that we did in Aragon. When I tell you that kid is speedy and he is gutsy and he is bold. Oh my god. And he has a really good media presence that I think some of them lack. And his dad was really nice. We were just chit chatting sometimes, and on top of it, he's in Red Bull's junior program. He's a very nice kid. He definitely has done like the media training, but I think he definitely will be one to watch. He's fast as all, like honestly, really fast. Leah Robinson, also someone to watch. He won one of the races this weekend as well, and he's honestly such a good driver because he's not afraid of like fully sending it into the corners where sometimes some of them are. And granted, like yeah, it was like the last races of the season, so like, what do you have to lose besides sending it? Um, yeah. What else? Who else? Thomas Behrman. He's a rookie. He's new. Yes, that is Ollie Behrman's younger brother. Have chatted with him and have met his dad. And I think with with Thomas Behrman, I think he's just really young now. I think he definitely needs like another year or two in the feeder series life before he progresses up into anything else like a Freca. Um, I think maybe another winter series might do him really well. He did win one of the he did end up on the rookie podium for one of the races. Because at winter series they have a winter podium. They have a not a winter podium, a rookie podium. They have a female trophy winner, so the girl who places the top, and then they have the overall podium. Yeah. So that was, I think he ended up, I think that was his first one as well. I think he just has some growing to do, but definitely one to watch. Who else? Oh, my stomach is rumbling. Who else? Gabriel Gomez was the winner of the series, and so he's definitely one to watch because obviously he won. I think he might have had some like issues towards the end of the season, but I think his progression was really good, and I think he had some like, I won't say performance anxiety things, but just like this the end of the season just wasn't his thing. Um, but yeah, and who else? I think if you're watching F1 Academy, Nina Godman was the one. I think she won the female trophy the majority of the time. She was kind of always in like the midfield when it came to the driving in F1 in the winter series. But like when I say the midfield, they had like 30 of them. So like she was like maybe P12 to 15 when she qualified well. Um, I think she's definitely one to watch on the F1 Academy grid, as well as like Chloe Chambers. She did really well, and Rafaela. I think Alba is just really young. She's 15, she's 16, and I think she just has a lot to learn. I think she'll do great eventually. I think but she had a lot of struggles with the car that she had at Winter Series. Granted, like it's an F4 car, it's not the greatest. But she kind of did end up towards the back of the pack most weekends. Um, I'm like going through these photos and I'm trying to think who else. Let me see. Andrea Dupé. I think he also would be very good to watch. He's in AS Motorsport, so they're not one of the better. They're like a midfield team for sure, but I think he made the best out of the car that he had. And he was also a rookie, so ultimately a lot more time to learn, things like that. And I think one of the other women to watch, especially for my Americans, Peyton Westcott. She's American. I was actually really shocked to see an American on like the European F4 grid. She did quite well overall. Um, yeah, I think she's definitely one to watch in terms of the women. Who else? I think that might be it. Sorry. Like there were others who were really good. Like Bart Harrison was also really good most of the time, and Maxime Rain was good as well. I think they were all decent, but I think some of them were just this stood out a bit more than others, which I don't think is a crime against humanity to say that out loud, but it is the truth. I think High Tech definitely had the best cars as well as Us Racing. Us Racing scared the living daylights out of me every time I would go up to them and like try to like talk to any of the drivers. They always just scared the shit out of me. I don't know where they were from, but they were always very scary, as was Campos. But, you know, I still did my job and I got the photos, so. Um, and it's actually funny because Emily Cauty took over. So Nina Godman is in F1 Academy, so she was not at the last races in Barcelona. But Emily Cauty is a British driver who took over for her on the high tech team, and she actually did really well the last race. Pleasantly surprised, but then she had some troubles during the actual race. She qualified quite well, and then the race just didn't go in her favor. Yeah, yeah. And if anybody has questions about what I did or like why I was there, happy to answer them. So it's not just like me giving my spiel on things, because I'm happy to do that. But I don't know if anybody actually wants to watch me do that. I think the coolest photos though are the ones where I can see them trying to counteract the understeer or oversteer that they're dealing with, because you can like see their hands turning the car, and but then the car, like the back of the car is coming out from underneath them, and I think those are the ones that are really cool. I sound like such a nerd, but it's honestly, if there's anything I nerd out about, it's this. Because like I just really enjoy racing, and I also enjoy racing and photography. So, um, yeah. But I also wonder, like, this is a question for anybody who's watching. Like, do you like following? Like, if I were to post more of my photos on here, Would you want me to make a separate photography account, or would you rather me just use the account that I have? Because I think those are very different niches, but they're still both very motorsport centric accounts. But then at the same time, like if I did photo stuff, I probably would also be like doing photos from weddings I cover, photos from engagements or like couple shoots I do. Um, would it be better to have them separate, or would it be better to have them as one joint larger account? Um, Even if you don't follow me, just like any indication on that would be useful, just so I know. Because I like sharing the photos I take, but it's also like I don't want to share them and then bore people. On Instagram, it's easy. Like on Instagram, I have a separate account. Oh, I don't know why I'm freezing. Let me see if I should switch. No, it's on the right one. Hopefully, I'm not freezing anymore. Um, but it might have just been the moment that they went out for a second. Um, ah, is it like the stream here or is it the stream on YouTube? I will post them. I think it's like okay, so it might be the TikTok thing. I don't know why it's freezing because it's like on the same Wi-Fi. That's strange. Um, yes. So I'll repeat the question. I think the question was, would it be better, do you think, to post them on the same account as I post like my other F1 stuff or like my motorsporty stuff, or would it be better to separate them between accounts? Because I do have like kind of a spam that I use every so often. Um, but I can turn it into like more of a professional account or like make an actual like photo account. But I wasn't sure if it would be better to have them on one account or if it'd be better to have them on separate accounts because I think they're very different but very similar niches. I hope all of that came through. This is literally what I do all the time. I literally just like sing it myself, and it's apparently so annoying to everybody else. I think I want to do it as a separate job. And that's the thing. It's like I'm gonna sound like a real hater right now. I or not a hater, but just like I kind of want to do I want to do like presenting, but I also want to do photo. And because I love both of them simultaneously. And like I kind of sometimes I like when I have a giant thing on my face, I love not wearing makeup and being able to just go to the track and chill and not having to wear makeup. And it's great. But then at the same time, I do want to also wear like sometimes I want to do like interviews with the drivers and like make funny videos with them or like actually interview them and like I have a whole idea that I would want to do with drivers. It does involve riding in a car. I'm not spoiling it so no one can take my ideas. Not that I think any of you would take my ideas, but like yeah, I I want to do presenting, but I also want to do photography and I feel like with presenting, or like, yeah, I feel like with presenting, there's not really a window right now for especially someone who looks like me, which is also really disappointing and really depressing. And I don't entirely know how to fix that because I don't feel like there is a way to fix it. And I really would love to work with like Sky Sports. I would love to work with Channel 4 in the UK or ITV or ESPN in the US because I am American. So it's a free person that they could use without having to pay for like someone with like I come with work authorization. But even the people that the agencies choose to work with, or just creators that people choose to support on like TikTok, it is incredibly difficult to like make it through the noise. And like, I don't know if anybody's noticed, I've stopped posting for a while and then I've just recently picked it up. And honestly, I think Winter Series really helped me fall back in love with it. And I got an advanced copy of Lewis Hamilton's autobiography um, by Professor Sawyer. And that book, I think the combination of reading that and Winter Series helped me fall back in love with motorsports as a space. But then at the same time, like today, when the creator lineup comes out for Sky Sports' newest thing, I think I also feel left out. Not left out, but like I feel down because I feel like I will never make it to a space where I can get in those spaces. And it just feels, and I think with photography as well, it feels exclusionary. And I'm trying really, really hard not to get down about it. But that's honestly really draining, not feeling sad about it when in reality, it is how I feel. And it's not something I'm gonna like bullshit around. I'm gonna say how I feel. But at the same time, it's like that's the reality of everything. Yeah. So like the Aston thing, I actually didn't apply to the Aston thing because I I think with the Aston thing, oh, ah, it's like gonna stop my live. What the fuck? Sorry, I haven't touched my phone in 5 minutes. Um, like the Aston thing, I was like, I can't in good conscience sign up to work with Aston when I don't really like Aston as a team. There's nothing wrong with Aston. It was just something where I was like, I don't think I could be in a situation where like I would want to talk about Aston Martin for an entire season, even just to get in the room. And also, I was a bit worried because I know they're not getting, I was like, I'm 90% sure they're not getting paid for this. And if I'm spending the amount of time that I'm spending on creating videos, creating concepts, I don't want to do work for multi-million-dollar companies for free for exposure. I don't. And also, I don't know if anybody saw the backlash that Ree got um to the announcement of like her on the Aston Creator Collective. But that was honestly the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And it really made me upset because she should never have been in that position. Aston should never have put her in that position. And I wish it was different. Um, and I think I felt really bad for her in that moment because I do know Ree. Um, and yeah, it was just crappy to watch. Yeah, they've taken a lot of the comments down off their socials, but like with Ree, like she got attacked. Like people were calling her fat, people were calling her all types of names, people were calling her racial slurs. Like I was in Aston's comments on their Instagram. Their TikTok wasn't that bad. It was their Instagram. Like defending her with my whole life. And there were so many people who were doing that as well. But it was because Aston chose a photo of her, the only one where it was a full body photo. And the rest of the girls got headshots. And so they also put her photo first. And it really made me upset because it's like you hung her out to dry. Um, and like I also like I was pretty positive she was going to apply for it, and I was like, this is the UK. I'm going to be surprised if there is a situation where they choose multiple people of color for a 5 to 6 person lineup. And Ree is somebody I'm like, I know you. I also don't want to compete with you. because you are very good at what you do and you're a lot larger than me. It just didn't feel like the fit. But then at the same time, I know I feel like I'm complaining about not getting the exposure, but then simultaneously not putting myself in situations where I would get that kind of exposure, if that makes sense. I think it just, like, I've been talking with some of my friends recently, but it just feels hard to grow anymore, especially on TikTok. Because it just feels like it's a constant struggle even to just get in front of people. Um, and yeah, I just didn't. I don't know. Like lately, it's just the whole space has felt off, and it's like I am doing my very best to not get down about it or like put off from posting things. But yeah, it's just a lot right now. And I think doing the photography has been really useful because it really reminded me that this is what I love to do, and I love just being at the races, and I love creating here. Uh, but simultaneously, there's more to do. And yeah, I don't know. That's my spiel. That's my rant. Ta-da! Jordan has a lot of feelings, and not all of them are positive feelings. And I feel like sometimes I'm almost like expected to be this very positive person online, when in reality, it's like, no, I probably spent like half the last year incredibly depressed because I just don't know what I'm doing with my life. Because it's like I want to do all of these things, and like I want to do presenting, I want to do content creation, but then it's like I don't know what works. And sometimes it kind of feels like nothing works. And but then I know there's opportunities. I just need to like sit down and find them and do a better job than I have kind of been doing the last couple of months. But I think that's part of me taking off this time. And I just need to, I'm reminding myself to not be like jealous of other people's opportunities, because like we're not getting the same opportunities for a reason. And that's not at the end of the world. It's also not a bad thing. It's just life. Um, yeah. And part of me also wonders how much of this will change if I lose like 15 pounds, which I hate. I hate thinking about. Ooh, car that crashed. Um, Forgot that happened. If anybody wants to see the car that crashed, it's this one. Let's see. Schnitzel car. Uh-huh. Crashed right in front of us. And actually, when that happened, there was actually one where it was simultaneously right in front of me. I just couldn't see it. Where the car had hit the barriers because they crashed into each other. So that was how I saw the crash. I was moving back from the barrier to not get splashed with water. But to be fair, like that car wasn't going that fast. It wouldn't have hit me, and I wasn't really that scared. I think that's something that also is like really cool now, since I've done like the car stuff. I've like been touching distance from the cars during pit stops, which is so cool. By the way, really loud. Definitely probably lost a little bit of my hearing that week, but really cool. Um, I'm not really afraid of like cars rolling at me anymore. Like I am, but I'm not. Like I'm like you can drive right up into my face and I'll be fine. I'm not moving. And I think if you had asked me like a month ago, I'd have been like, absolutely fuck not. I would have been moving out of the way. And now I'm like, bring it on. And I'm like, I feel like you should have fear with these kinds of things, but I don't. Yeah. I feel like you should be. I feel like I should be afraid. And I'm like, I have nothing to lose. Maybe my life, but it's fine. I've signed a liability waiver. Sorry, those were dark jokes. Yeah. Yeah. But again, I don't know what people can see. I'm hoping you can see. Well, I know you probably can't see anything besides my face right now. But if you have questions, feel free to ask them. I don't know what to talk about. Where is the boy? Oh, mice. I use Lightroom because I'm cheap. And I enjoy Lightroom more than I enjoy Photoshop. I only really use Photoshop if I need it. But I use Photoshop a lot, and I use what's it called? I'm gonna get Capture One, and there's another one. I think it's called, oh, what is it called? He told me about it last week. It's like Photo Mechanic. I think Photo Mechanic is the other one that's really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the one that my one of the people at the race recommended. He was like, you should look into Photo Mechanic. Yeah. And it's, yeah, exactly. It's a pay once and then you have it. And like, yeah, and they give you a year of edits. I think if I did it, I would like look into when their editing or when their update renewals are. And then buy it right before that, so then I know I get the new one for free. But because I don't really plan on upgrading my laptop in the next couple of years, so I don't really see the reason of why I would need something more. I think with Photo Mechanic, I would definitely upgrade to that from Lightroom because I think it would give me a lot more control over like my imports and things like that in a way that I don't that I need probably right now. But yeah, I think with Lightroom, I'm also just like Adobe. You are unfortunately having a monopoly in the space, and I need to pay for their love at the moment. But I'm hoping that when I get like out of the, I really honestly would love to find a better Lightroom alternative. If I find one, I'm leaving. I'm leaving and I'm never going back. And I know most photo editors say that, but like I genuinely mean that with a burning passion. If I find a Lightroom alternative that is not awful, I will leave. Yeah. But I think subscriptions for everything are stupid. Like, why do I need a subscription for like my toothbrush? Why do I need a subscription for a photo editing software? I don't. I need a subscription for like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what I need a subscription for. I don't need a subscription for anything. I do. There's a couple things in life, but not that many things. Yeah. Like Netflix maybe, but like Netflix is also a scam. F1 TV, I actually don't pay for F1 TV. I still use my parents' Xfinity connection from the US, and I just use a lovely VPN because I am cheap and I refuse. I refuse to give in to them. But the second that house sells and I have to get rid of it, I'm so screwed, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm not paying for Sky. Now that I refuse to do, because the thing with getting Sky in the UK is I can't just buy like access to Sky TV. I would have to buy an entire Sky like TV subscription, pay the $100 for a TV license in the UK, and all of those things are things that I don't want to do. And things I'm like, why am I paying you for something I'm using once a week? Granted, it's like once a week for 25 weeks. Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate you because literally, I'm not. I refuse. I refuse. Honestly, I really need to figure out how to use Jacob's fancy setup, because I could do my lives on there, because it only I can use TikTok Live Studio and not have to do this on my phone if I figured out how to use his like fancy supercomputer. He did tell me how to open it once. Should I try to figure out how to open it? But I don't have my Lightroom stuff. I can figure it out how to turn it on. I think maybe I don't know. I don't want to break it. He spent a lot of time building his own computer, and I feel like if I touch it, it's gonna implode just because I'm like technologically impaired. So many photos. Honestly, I don't know. What are my 2025 predictions? Non hot takes. Yeah, because my hot takes went so well yesterday. Hold on. I need to grab my phone charger. Um, I figured out how to do the switchy thing on the actual stream, which is actually kind of cool. Um, I don't know how to pause my mic, but